I was going to sit here and try to sing Backstreet Boys, but I'm not going to. The Bad Batch is back, y'all. This is Star Wars Reactions.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
In 1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All of it.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Reactions, everybody. We are going to have some fun tonight. We are going to have a great time, and we got a lot to talk about. I am one half of the hosting team. I am Aaron Harrison. Joining me, as always, he is definitely the Chewie to my Han, the David Motters. David, what's up, buddy?
I wanted to do the growl, but I can't do it as good as most fans can do. like Jonas Suotamo, he does it incredible, and he's inside there. I know if people see pictures of you and I together at any of these conventions, I am the Chewie to your Han, and we're buddies, and we're always ready to react. And I'm so glad to be back on with you. I did listen to the last one, and you put a little intro in there, and it was real nice. And thank you for holding down the fort when I was gone.
No problem. We're glad to have you back, and we got some stuff to talk about today, and it's just going to be a great time. We'll go ahead and jump in and start with some news here that has been going on. Of course, in the last episode, when we talked about the news and everything a couple weeks ago, we discussed the huge Mandalorian reveal, the upcoming publishing initiative that they're doing with Mandalorian. And one of the books that was announced was The Art of the Mandalorian, which covers all of the art, the background, behind-the-scenes art from Season 1. Well, the date of that apparently has been moved up. Author Phil Szostak announced via his Twitter account today that he was advised that instead of being released November 1st, it is going to be released sometime in November. A specific date was not given, but that just means we get more Mandalorian earlier.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible. I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, but just the cover by Doug Chiang is, when you see it on StarWars.com, that's worth the price of admission right there. Mm-hmm. And you help me, brother, is it your understanding that it's going to be a lot of the artwork we saw at the end of each episode?
It's going to include that and stuff we haven't seen from what I understand. So.
Oh, okay.
So it looks, I can't wait to get my hands on that and see what's going on there. The art at the end of each episode is great. I love when I actually just rewatched the series this week, or the season, I should say, this week. And I love how Disney Plus does it, because they will, once a show ends, they'll put the little up next, and so you can click and go straight into the next episode without watching the credits. But I love how they do it. They wait till all the artwork is done before they pop the box up. So I got to sit there and look at all that gorgeous artwork all over again.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. And that'll be, right during season 2 airing starting October. So that'll be great to pick that up.
Exactly. Season 2 still scheduled for October. There's been, everybody's kind of wondering if it'll get pushed back because of the events going on in the world right now. But as of right now, we're still looking at an October release for season 2. So this fits right into the promotional hype for that. So we'll have, and depending on when they release it and how long, when season 2 begins, It could be coming out probably maybe even during the last, if it's anything like the last episode or season, the first season, if it's only like 8 episodes or so, it could be ending in November. So we could have the final episode of the last episode of season 2 coinciding with the release of this book. So you never know.
That'd be great. I'm not artistic. So, when I see Doug Chiang's stuff, when you see, the Mandalorian behind the scenes, the Disney Gallery, the Mandalorian, those are just seeing all the work behind the scenes, but looking at the work done to draw the child, all the effort to do that and finally get the right look that Favreau and Filoni liked. I just, I appreciate, artistic talent. I don't have it, but man, do I love looking at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, trust me, I am far from artistic myself as well, and it's a gift I wish I had, but no, not me, not I. So, and of course, going along with Art of the Mandalorian, since we're talking about books, the Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising book by Timothy Zahn, which is coming out on September 1st. They actually just released a excerpt of the book on StarWars.com. You can actually read the prologue for the book on the StarWars.com website right now, and it looks, from what I read of the prologue, it's going to be good.
Oh yeah! On Friday night, I came home. I was exhausted, and I jumped on StarWars.com. I saw that, and I followed along the prologue as I listened to Mark Thompson read it, because you can click at the bottom there, and he'll read it.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, at the very bottom there, and I just kind of scrolled back up and just followed along as he read it, and I'm with you. This is pretty cool seeing a young Thrawn.
Exactly. I'm still trying to figure out how I missed Mark Thompson's reading of it.
Yeah, they give you either option, and I just did both. I followed along, and I've done that before at StarWars.com. If they put that audio there, and he does a great job. He's talented, so it's fun to listen to him. So yeah, do you see it there? I'm not at StarWars.com.
Yeah,
but
I see. Yeah, I see it now, because the excerpt ends when it gets to the new artwork that was released with the with the blue and black art piece there.
Yeah.
And the recording is below that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're helping the readers. We're the readers and the listeners. We're helping everybody here.
And the host. You realize as soon as we're done, I'm listening to that.
Oh, yeah. He does a great job with the different voices. Yeah.
Well, I actually just listened to my first audiobook that Mark Thompson did. I actually listened to Aftermath and finished it last week or the week before, and got to hear. It's the first time I've actually listened to Mark Thompson actually narrate one of these books. He does really well. I'll admit, when Aftermath first came out and I tried reading it, I had such a hard time getting through that book. I couldn't finish it. I was getting lost. I was getting bored. I just could not get through it. Yeah. And nothing against Chuck Wendig. I like Chuck Wendig. He's a good author. But I just struggled with that book. But I gave it I had a free credit on Audible. I tried it, and man,
yeah,
I made it through. That was actually, he actually made it enjoyable to listen to. Matter of fact, right now I'm reading Shadowfall, and once I'm done with Shadowfall, I'm going back to Audible to listen to the second book, Life Debt. So,
yeah. Well, I read all three: Aftermath, Life Debt, and Empire's End. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, I'm looking at them over on the bookshelf. Yeah, they were. The first one was tough to get through, and the writing style. I'm trying to remember if it was second person, third tense. It's some crazy thing that Wendig did that he didn't necessarily do in the second and third books. But I enjoyed Life Debt even more than the first one, and the third one I did too. And I start to see how it ties in with Shattered Empire, the comic from Marvel, and it'll be interesting to see, like you said, with the Alphabet Squadron stuff. These are all set right there after the Battle of Endor stuff. But I too am in Shadowfall. But I did what you did. You and I have talked about getting into Audible. The first Audible book that I listened to here a while back, I think people heard us on the recording, was Resistance Reborn, which would be between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And I enjoyed him doing that, and it helped me get through it. And so it's weird. I've actually thought about doing Audible for all three of those Aftermath just to hear him do them, and maybe bring those back alive again for me. So, yeah, I enjoy them.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is worth it. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to get into Life Debt once I'm done with Shadowfall. And then, of course, they have the Dr. Aphra audio drama coming out at the end of this month, the end of July. And I have a credit set aside for that one as well. So I got two credits burning a hole in my pocket right now on Audible that I'm holding off because I want to finish Shadowfall, which I'm enjoying Shadowfall. Are you enjoying it?
I really am. I think it's kind of like with Aftermath. Like with Aftermath, I had to get to learn the new characters like Snap Wexley and his mom and stuff like that. And so then when you get into the second one, Life Debt, and then there's some more recognizable original trilogy characters, that made it even better. Same thing here, Shadowfall, getting to know them. Now as I've jumped in, or forgive me, with Alphabet Squadron, I get to know all the characters. As we jump into Shadowfall, I'm like, okay, I know the players, and I know what they're trying to do, and it's, this group of 5 against, this Shadow Wing, an elite group of TIE fighters. And I've really enjoyed getting into it and seeing some of the twists and turns here. And a little shout out to Alexander Freed. I thought about this in the first book, but the therapist, I'm a clinical psychologist, so what cracks me up, Aaron, is the therapist in these 2 books so far is one of these interrogation droids, the floating black balls that we see in A New Hope, and then of course we saw in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I love that he's a therapist. It just cracks me up. So I love that, buddy.
Yeah, that's one thing I like what they've done. Disney has done with some of these characters since their takeover. It's you see it more with these books and with The Mandalorian, is you get droids that have always been set as a certain thing. These interrogator droids, they're torture droids is what they are. The IG, the bounty hunter droid. I mean, and then they flip their personalities. IG-11 became a nanny.
Right.
This therapist, it's not this interrogator droid's now therapist. They're flipping personalities on it, and it's making it. It's kind of making it humorous, personally, in my opinion. And that's what's made it so much more fun for me.
Yeah. Oh, no question. So I wanted to mention that I would recommend both, Alphabet Squadron and Shadowfall, and it'll be interesting to see the third one, right? It's the trilogy that's already been announced, so I'm enjoying it, buddy. With the summer here.
Did you read Alexander Freed's other Star Wars book, the Battlefront book?
I did not. I read Battlefront 2: Inferno Squadron by Christy Golden. But I did not. I'm definitely leaning towards doing it because after reading Alphabet Squadron and now Shadowfall, I'm a chunk into it. I can't imagine that I wouldn't like it.
See, I enjoyed it. One of our friends bought it, read it, did not like it, and threw up on Facebook one day, whoever wants it can have it. So I'm like, I'll take it.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
I got it and I read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yeah. You know, I enjoyed seeing Alexander Freed on the Star Wars Book Club that Kristen Baver hosts.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they did that before Shadowfall came out. You know, they went through and reviewed. Of course, our own Dan Z, right?
Yep.
Was on there going through the first book of Alphabet Squadron. So it was kind of fun to see that. And then the questions that she asked Alexander Freed. And he seems like a really nice guy, really excited about Star Wars and creating characters and stuff like that. So, you know, I guess you and I always joke, you know, we got to add books to the pile. I think, you know, Battlefront will be added to my pile here.
Yeah, the Twilight Company, Battlefront Twilight Company was what it was called. It was really good. Really, really good. So I definitely, if you like the Alphabet Squadron books so far, I would read that one too, because it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Good deal.
So, and for the record, since we're still talking books, the last I can't remember if it was 2 episodes ago, our first episode of our Star Wars Weekends discussion. I mentioned the fact that I had lost. I came to the realization I had lost my copy of From a Certain Point of View. But if you follow on social media, you know I found it this past week. So it is safely back in my possession, and I'm happy and I'm about to reread it again after Life Debt.
Did you read the whole thing? Did you read all of From a Certain Point of View?
I read, yeah, I did.
Okay, I didn't read the whole thing. I have it. I'm looking at it. I see it right there. I actually, to talk about again the crossover, that is, I might do Audible for that one. So I don't know. Might have some fun with some of these. You know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So shift gears a little bit. We've been talking about books and books and books. Shifting gears a little bit. Solo, a Star Wars story, is now on Disney Plus. Came out this week, was released this week. Apparently the contract with Netflix ended, so they flipped it immediately onto Disney Plus. And guess what? All Star Wars films and series are now on. Well, outside of, you know, the stuff from the 80s, the Ewoks and stuff like that. They're all on Disney Plus now, so you can watch pretty much the entire saga right there.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's where it needs to be.
Oh yes, it has come home.
Yes.
Yeah, Solo shows up on Disney Plus, and all I could see is that meme of Solo and Chewie boarding the Falcon. Chewie, we're home.
It's the perfect meme for that. Yeah,
it is. It is. It's a perfect theme for that. So now, this bit of news, it's the last piece of news we have for today. This last piece of news, well, actually there's another piece of news, but we're going to discuss it as our main topic of discussion for this episode. But this last piece we're going to discuss in our news segment literally caught me off guard. I was not expecting to see this news, and I was scrolling through Facebook and it popped up and I'm going, oh dear Lord, are you kidding me? This is amazing. This is great. Empire Strikes Back was the #1 movie at the box office this weekend.
It's just hilarious.
For the first time in 23 years, when the special edition was released, the movie was #1 at the box office. Now, of course, if you haven't been aware, there have been theaters around the country showing Empire Strikes Back. Local theater here actually played it Friday night. Unfortunately, I was unable to go, mainly because it sold out so stinking quick. I was unable to get a ticket, but it's been showing everywhere. So a lot of drive-ins were showing it. Local theaters were showing it. Actually played 483 locations around the country this weekend. bringing in, and it's estimated to have brought in this weekend almost $500,000.
That's just, I mean,
So
it's incredible.
this 40-year-old movie, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back this year, and it just raked in another $500,000 at the box office.
Yeah.
Domestically in the U.S.
Well, yeah, and like you have in the show notes, first time in 23 years. I was there 23 years ago when it came out, special edition. I was there for Star Wars Empire and Return of the Jedi there in 1997. It's interesting. Last night, my wife and I had to go pick up our daughter from a little get-together she was at, and we drive back past the Ocala Drive-In, this drive-in theater. Now, interestingly, over the last several weeks, they've been playing, excuse me, a bunch of different movies from in the past, like stuff from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, stuff like that. So last night, I'm driving back, and I look, and they're playing the original Star Wars at the drive-in. And so I wish it would have been Empire Strikes Back there this weekend or this week, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it pop up there. They just changed the movies out at the drive-in, and it was packed last night. I drove by there. We have one of the few drive-ins, not only in Florida, but the country, here in Ocala. And so I thought that was pretty neat. Lena looked over and says, "Hey, there's Star Wars." And, a 43-year-old movie, up there, on the screen and stuff. So, I don't know how many places Star Wars is showing on drive-in and stuff, but that's really, really fun news.
Oh, no, absolutely. I know. Fortunately, where I live here in Lakeland, we have Silver Moon Drive-In too. So we get a drive-in as well. And I don't know what they're showing this week, but I don't think it was Star Wars. But they definitely have been. I know they've been showing a lot of old movies, and with a lot of the theater companies and everything shut down and everything out in California, nothing is being released. And if it is being released, it was stuff that was finished prior to March, that it was just waiting for its release date, and they've been releasing it in different ways, whether it's been direct to video, like pay-per-view, or streaming apps and stuff like that. But so we haven't had any major releases, and everything keeps getting all these major releases that people are waiting for. Like for me, the new Top Gun movie, and Black Widow, they keep getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So who knows when we'll get to see those?
Well, yeah, right. But, Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman.
Mulan, the live action Mulan. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're pushed back even more. It's just been nuts out there.
Oh yeah, it has. And the new Bond movie too got pushed back, the new James Bond movie. So there's a lot of stuff being pushed back. So these theaters that are opening have nothing to play. So I think it's really genius playing classic hits. I know I remember our drive-in did one night show The Goonies.
Yeah.
I love The Goonies. I mean, that was a spectacular movie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff they're playing which has been great. I'm still holding out for the either the Star Wars marathon that they're going to do, if they ever do it, and or the Indiana Jones one.
Yeah. Well, here in Ocala, the Regal 16 is still closed. They have not opened to 25 or 50%. I think they've made the determination that it's not worth it to them. So the drive-in has, again, because you can set in your own car and all that stuff, turn on the radio to the station. I don't know that the drive-in is closed at all during this whole time. It's been one of the only sources of entertainment outside the house in this area. Of course, I drive by it all the time. It's just part of near me. I don't know if you drive by the one that you're by, but it's been incredibly popular.
Oh, I know it's been hugely popular here. Unfortunately, I haven't been going. I don't go near it. It's literally on the other side of town. But I know it has been busy.
Yeah,
I definitely know it's been busy, and they've been Like right this weekend, or this past weekend, they played Lost Boys and Nightmare on Elm Street on one. It's a 2-screen drive-in.
Yeah.
One screen was Lost Boys and Nightmare on Elm Street, and the other one was Never Ending Story and Selena. It's always a double feature.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the classics. I'm like, can I go watch? I'm sitting there looking at this. I'm like, maybe I should go watch Lost Boys, then turn around and watch Never Ending Story. But unfortunately, those two played at the same time. But it's great. I mean, I always enjoy. I haven't been to the drive-in since college though. That's what's crazy. We have one here, and it's not expensive to go to. But I haven't been since college.
We've gone one time in the entire time we've lived here in Ocala. Part of the problem for me is the start time, and if you want to watch both, again, depending on what time of the year you go, there's more sunlight. Like they'll start the movie later, and so I don't know. I need to get over there and just take my wife and kids and just watch a double feature and just have some fun. I just got to keep my eye out for a good combo,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Right now, the start times here. I don't know about yours, but ours is like the first movie starts at 8:45, the second one at 10:45.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to make that happen, but
Well, and like you could do it, your wife could, but like your girls, it's the same thing with, back in the day, like my son and daughter. Even then, my daughter, I don't know that she would want to do a 10:45, 11 o'clock start, and then she's just falling asleep and like, why did I pay for it, But that's always been kind of difficulty for me is the start times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I got a feeling I will be going in. Let's see. I got the schedule right here for Silver Moon. It just popped up on their website. Let's see. August. Let's see here. The 24th is going to be. Oh yes, I'll have to go the week of starting the 24th. It'll be one screen. It'll be Ghostbusters and Stripes.
Nice. I know. See these 80s classics, man.
Actually, this coming weekend, they're doing Backdraft and Apollo 13 on one, and Dragons and Despicable Me on the other. Then the following week is Ghostbusters and Stripes. Then the second screen is Shrek and Megamind. So they do a good mix of family movies too. That's what I like too. They do the classic hits, but then they also do kids movies. So
it's kind of funny,
except for this weekend.
Yeah, with this whole COVID thing, how some of the low tech stuff is, or old school stuff is working pretty good.
It sure is. It sure is.
Right.
So, all right. Well,
yeah,
that pretty much wraps up our news. Well, what we're going to call our news segment. This whole show is going to be news related. But we have the biggest piece of news that broke, which broke today. We're recording this on Monday, the 13th, and there was some huge news that broke today, and that's going to be our topic of discussion today. Before we do that, though, and jump into that, we are going to take a very quick break, and we will be right back for our topic for today's show. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David are here, Star Wars Reactions, and it is time to discuss probably the biggest announcement. I would say this is probably the biggest announcement of the year so far when it comes to Star Wars of 2020. And 2020's had its share of big breaking news and stuff, and it's been great. But this is probably the biggest news that I will say, in my opinion, this is the biggest news to come out of 2020 so far. And that is that today, the date, like I said, we're recording this Monday, the 13th of July. Today, Lucasfilm announced via StarWars.com that we are getting a new Star Wars themed animated series. Now, this is something we've been expecting. We've been expecting an animated series. It's been coming. We kind of knew something was coming. And there have been people posting that job posts that Lucasfilm had up looking for artistic and animation related positions available at Lucasfilm. So we knew something was coming. And today we got the announcement. Coming to Disney Plus in 2021 is Star Wars The Bad Batch. Can you dig it?
That's pretty crazy, man. This is going to be interesting. Of course, more D. Bradley Baker, you're not going to hear me complain.
Oh, of course not.
This is cool. It was interesting. You texted me this morning and got me pumped up. I immediately went to StarWars.com. You sent me the link to check it out, and I did, and I read it, and I was texting with you and stuff. And I know that my initial thing was, well, I see that Filoni's executive producer, but he's not the supervising director, and I'm always, oh man, of course I want him to be the supervising director, but I also understand that him and Favreau are going to be working on probably all the post production right now of season 2 of Mandalorian, and I don't know, I think Favreau's already starting to write season 3, I believe. I heard that somewhere. I'm not really, I don't think, talking out of hand there, but we'll see. Justin Ridge was the supervising director of Resistance. Who is it? What do you and I see? Is it Brad Rao?
Brad Rao is going to be the supervising director, and which is going to be great. I personally think it's going to be great. Brad Rao has a storied history with Star Wars. He has worked on Forces of Destiny. He worked on Rebels. He's worked on Resistance in a variety of different positions. And I actually looked this up because I know when we were texting earlier, there was some concern that Dave wasn't the executive or the head supervising director. Excuse me.
Right.
And I actually pulled up Brad Rao's credits. He actually directed 7 episodes of Resistance, 15 episodes, 15. He actually was the director of 3 episodes of Force of Destiny, but was the supervising director for all 15 episodes. He was also the director of 5 episodes of Rebels, including some of my favorite episodes.
Oh, wow.
He directed Siege of Lothal.
Oh.
He directed Protector of Concord Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Stealth Strike.
Yes.
Always 2 there are.
Oh, man.
And the Honorable Ones.
Oh.
As soon as I read that,
okay.
any remote doubt in the back of my mind that was there was gone.
Well,
Honorable Ones was a tremendous episode. I have no doubt this show is going to be in good hands.
Well, I'm so glad you did that because, obviously the people who've listened to this show for a long time know that, we covered Rebels and, we looked at that, whole series up, down, forwards, and backwards. And I'm so glad you looked that up. That puts me at ease because I know all those episodes with you versus I don't know what those are. No, because you kept hitting them. I'm like, holy crow. That's great. That is really good news. And that makes me feel really good. Plus, they're established characters here.
Yes.
These guys. I love these guys. Of course, you and I covered them just a few months ago.
Exactly. And that's what made this announcement so exciting is, we haven't discussed any details of what the show's about because there's very little out there as of right now, but it is exactly what it sounds like. The Bad Batch is following the story of Clone Force 99, quote unquote, the Bad Batch. So we're going to get to see Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, and Crosshair all over again. And because of where this is set, which they've announced, we're going to get to see Echo as well. Because you remember in the last arc of season 7, the Bad Batch arc, they were involved in the rescue with Anakin and Rex to rescue Echo from the Separatists. And at the end of the episode, he leaves the 501st to join the Bad Batch because he's not a regular anymore.
Well, and remember Rex encourages him. He says, look, if you feel you're welcome here, we'll love you. If you want to go with those guys, you've got our blessing too. It's just what's better for you.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
And exactly. And that's what's going to, and to me, I got a feeling that's what's going to make this so good is we have these 4 and that work so well together. And now we're going to have Echo thrown in the mix. So it's going to be a series where they're going to be getting to know each other. I mean, they know who each other are, but they're not meshed as well as the first 4. So we're going to get to see them start meshing, and we're going to hopefully we'll get a lot of character arcs of them getting to know each other and the growing pains of getting to work to each other and feel each other out and go from there. So I think that will be phenomenal, and especially when we get into what little we know about what the series is going to be. And I'm just going to read this directly from the release. It says, the series will follow the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War. Members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers in a formidable crew. In the post-Clone War era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. So we have them working as mercenaries. I almost said working as missionaries.
Yes.
That would definitely put an interesting twist on it.
Yeah.
I am one with the Force, and the Force.
Right. They would have that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're working as mercenaries, which, that really honestly threw me for a loop. That's what the other big surprise for me was the story they're going to tell. Because when they said Bad Batch, I was thinking we were just going to see some of their missions from the Clone Wars. I thought that's what we would be seeing prior to the rescue of Echo. But no, we're picking up where the Clone Wars ends and going forward into that immediate era post the Clone War, which honestly, there's very little that covers that era.
Well, I'm visualizing this, and I'm thinking about the end of season 7, which we covered, and we see, Ahsoka and Rex and Order 66. So the question for me is, if I'm thinking about this correctly, do they have chips in them as well? Right?
Ooh,
and
good question.
Right? So we know, as you and I covered all 3 kind of 4, 4, and 4 of season 7, that, obviously they did the first 4 was the Bad Batch arc. And I don't know that they really talked about it. Rex has his chip in him, obviously, at that time, as he's working with them. But I don't know that there was any hint. I would guess they have it, but I wonder if they're genetically modified, if maybe they don't, and they don't even have to do an episode or 2 to show them battling out of that, or getting those chips out of their head like what Rex, Gregor, and Wolf. So that was my first question when I saw that it was like you said, Aaron, post Clone Wars versus prior to them getting Echo. So it'll be interesting to see if they do some episodes on that, like we saw Ahsoka help Rex. That'd be awesome. If not, maybe, like I said, if they're genetically modified, maybe they're ones who don't have chips in them. I don't know. It'll play out, but just a question that I have.
Or let me throw this monkey bone in there, or monkey wrench, I should say. Or maybe they do have the chip, but since they didn't have a Jedi to turn on because they work independently, maybe they're the temporary Jedi hunter squad until the Inquisitors are set up.
Right, and we've seen some of that, in Rebels with the Grand Inquisitor, some of the Marvel, the Darth Vader, second Darth Vader Marvel series by Charles Soule. I guess what we see, some in the Jedi Fallen Order, right, the Seventh Sister or something like that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, because we really don't know how long it took for the Inquisitor system to be set up. So it would make sense if you have this elite unit, you would use them until you get your Inquisitors set up.
Now, how crazy would it be to watch them go after some Jedis that are out in the outer rim, mid-rim planets trying to avoid being tracked down? That could be a whole arc where a Jedi helps them to get those chips out of there. I mean, you've got Yoda, you've got Ben Kenobi. I don't know. I could think of some others here. Of course, I think about a young Caleb Doom, Kanan Jarrus. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here.
Oh yeah, and there's so many possibilities. I mean, because like in Rebels, we know the Empire has had Illuminara and Dooley in custody. Maybe they're the ones that brought her in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's the possibilities on this show are endless, and we know very little about it. And I am stoked for this show. I don't know why it hit me when I read the article when it was announced, and I read the press release and everything. My mind was blown, and I tell you, I just cannot wait to see where this goes.
Well, and I'll say this: back when we were covering the Bad Batch, everyone talked about who's their favorite member, of the Bad Batch. Mine was Wrecker, and I just got the big kick out of him. His problem with heights. One episode he's in the back and he's eating a big old turkey leg and bench pressing a droid or something like that, maybe a gong droid or something. And then of course the final when Anakin hands him the detonator, he's got the tear in his eye. It's like the happiest day of my life. Just blows up all of it, the clankers, and so I'm just dying. So more Wrecker is gonna put a big smile on my face. So
yeah, it's gonna be great because we're gonna get to see them all again. Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Crosshair. We get to see more of the rivalry between Wrecker and Crosshair. When he was set up the mirrors and took everybody out with one shot, right, versus Wrecker running down the hall and crushing everybody. Right. We're going to get to see a lot more of that, and I'm so excited that they're actually giving life. And I'm just surprised we're getting a spin-off. I was expecting some new when they said we were getting new animation. When we started getting rumors that new animation was coming, we had everybody had their idea of what it was going to be. I personally was expecting something new. Personally, I was expecting something new, something different, something we hadn't seen before, which this is. But I was expecting more closer to. I was expecting more post Return of the Jedi. Something that would possibly honestly, what a lot of people were expecting was an Ahsoka Sabine series.
Right, that one, or like you and I've talked, maybe on air or off air, that post Return of the Jedi, like you just mentioned, with an animated Luke and Leia and
Yeah.
some of their adventures, and Han too. Definitely. Something I just thought about is it does kind of surprise me. A third area is I thought and maybe they'll still do it, is something animated that ties in to the High Republic publishing campaign. Something that bounces off of that. That could happen. I mean, it would be interesting. Does a live action series bounce off of High Republic, a movie, animated shows? I think the sky's the limit there with that whole area, and they've tried to do that for the authors, but I'm thinking even for the filmmakers, they're not constrained by the Skywalker saga, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think those three areas. I was thinking a little bit in the back of my mind, something off of the High Republic, but even more so the two you mentioned, Ahsoka and Sabine, or something post Return of the Jedi. But they fooled us again.
Absolutely, and although just to comment off of what you said, the although I would love to see something High Republic, they made it abundantly clear during their initial release that this is not they're not going to make any. At the time, there are no plans for any TVs or movies or anything to tie into it. This is it's going to be strictly a publishing initiative. So that doesn't mean a couple years down the road we may not see something, but until probably the first wave of the initiative, we're not going to see anything animated or on screen. Maybe something will get referenced to it, but nothing set in that era.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't remember that part, but no, good. Thank you for the clarification.
No problem. I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of things that people were expecting, and so a Clone Wars spinoff with the Bad Batch definitely was not on my radar. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I know we've talked a little bit about Brad Rowell, who's going to be serving as the supervising director. He also will be one of the producers on the show as well. Dave Filoni and Atina Portillo will be serving and Brad Rowell and Jennifer Corbett will be serving as executive producers. Jennifer, then of course Carrie Beck will serve as co-producer with Josh Rhimes will be a producer. Rao, like we said, will be supervising director, and Jennifer Corbett will be head writer. Now, some of these names you may know, some of these you may not. Atina Portillo, well known in Star Wars universe. She was one of the executive producers on Resistance. She worked on Rebels, and I believe Clone Wars as well. Then, of course, we talked about Brad Rowell. If you don't know who Dave Filoni is, I can't help you there. If you don't know who Dave Filoni is, come on, man. That's all I can say. Come on, man. And if you don't know who Dave Filoni is, let me just throw this out there. Watch the episode of Star Wars Gallery, The Mandalorian, where they're talking and get to, was it the second episode? That last 7-minute speech he gave.
Oh, I told you about that. I said,
yeah,
Aaron, go do it. And you did. And you're like,
it'll change your life.
You immediately texted me, like, just blown away.
It'll change your life, dude. No. So, yeah. Filoni. Awesome. But the two that didn't really stick, that I didn't really know a lot about, Jennifer Corbett and Josh Rhimes. Josh Rhimes will serve as a producer on Star Wars, The Bad Batch. So I was curious what his background was. So I pulled it up and I did some looking, and he's been around Star Wars for a while as well. He has written some Star Wars. He wrote the Lego Star Wars All-Star series. He wrote 5 episodes of that. He was listed as a member of the story group for the Star Wars rollout minis, like 2-minute videos that they put on StarWars.com.
Yeah.
He was credited as a member of the story group. He also is credited as a member of the story group, the Lucasfilm story group, for 15 episodes of Star Wars Rebels, including, which it's pretty much the final season, from Heroes of Mandalore all the way up to Family Reunion Farewell.
Yeah.
He pretty much was a member of the story group at that point. Same for the Freemakers. He was listed as creative executive of Lucasfilm Animation for 13 episodes of Star Wars Freemaker Adventures. But then we get into his producing credits. He produced the producer of 31 episodes of Galaxy of Adventures, all 31 episodes of Galaxies of Adventure, which is the shorts they put on YouTube, of which he was the executive producer of 11 of them. He was the associate producer of 12 episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars, which just so happened to be all of season 7. So all the entire final season, he was an associate producer on that show. He was an associate producer for 20 episodes of Star Wars Resistance, and he was co-producer for 18 of them.
Oh.
So then of course he was producer for Lego Star Wars All-Stars. He was co-producer for Forces of Destiny, associate producer on the Freemakers. So dude's been around. Needless to say, dude has been around Star Wars as a producer, so he knows how it works. So it'll be fun to see how he works out with the Bad Batch. Jennifer Corbett was the other name on the list. The name I did recognize her name because I do remember her writing or being a part of some episodes of Resistance, and she actually did write 3 episodes of Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah,
Now
I remember her name. Yes,
she's going to be a producer, and she's also going to be the head writer. Okay. So looking at her credits, she has 1 producer credit to her name, and that was 48 episodes of the TV show NCIS. A good show. It's been on for many, many years, so she's definitely has had some success there. But then like I said, she's also going to be a head writer. Her writing credits are a little thin, in my opinion. But she wrote 17 episodes of NCIS. She wrote 12 episodes of a show called Golden Boy, which I never heard of, and 2 episodes of Breakout Kings, a series called Breakout Kings. And as I mentioned earlier, she did write 3 episodes of Star Wars Resistance.
Oh.
Yeah. So obviously, in Filoni I trust. So if they've put her in that position, it's for a good reason. So I'm interested to see what kind of stories we get from her. The 3 episodes of Resistance she wrote was Rendezvous Point, The New World,
right? Oh yeah, I like that one. Yeah,
and Rebuilding the Resistance.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this all works out. I think out of every name on the list that they've mentioned that's going to be working there, hers is the only name that's new, that's fairly new to me when it comes to Star Wars. Everybody else has a very rich history in Star Wars. Brad Rowell and Filoni, of course, and Portillo, Josh Rhimes, as we discussed, they all have a very rich history in Star Wars. Jennifer does not, but we all have to start somewhere, don't we? Everybody has to start somewhere. Everybody has to be given a chance. The episodes of Resistance she did right, I do remember enjoying. Rendezvous Point was fun. A New World was great because that's where they find the planet with the new creatures, with your creature corner people, and rebuilding the Resistance right there at the end of the series. Those were actually very good episodes of that series. So it'll be interesting to see where things advance from there.
Yeah. Like we said, the sky's the limit. And as we've been talking, I've just been in my mind thinking about a lot of different people that they can come across at that time. And this is, giving me a little bit of a feel like The Mandalorian and all the people that it sounds like The Mandalorian and Cara Dune and the crew are going to cross paths with. So there's a lot of those opportunities here. And it'd be interesting if it's going to be the same animation style too. Will they put the money into it that Lucas did? Now they did, for these 4 episodes, in season 7, but I can't imagine them not doing that quality. Yeah, it's I'm ready to go. And like we said, and D. Bradley Baker too. It's just great to hear him again. And I'm sure he had so much fun doing those 4 episodes. I'm sure he's ready to go again.
Oh, absolutely. And this is one of those things that would not have worked without D. His talent, his skill, it definitely made the Bad Batch who they were. And to hear him talk about it, how it doing, the clone stretched him as it was, but doing these 4 actually gave him a chance to stretch his legs and vary it in such a way that you can't even, just from sounds, you wouldn't even know they were clones. So, right. Right. So he got to stretch his legs, vocally speaking, quite a bit. So I think it's will work out great. Now, there's been no official announcement that D's coming back. It's just assumption because you don't do the clones without D when you're talking animation there. So I would assume D. Bradley Baker would be back for this. I just can't see him doing it without him.
No, and he's he's been very clear about it. He's always willing to come back and do them. So yeah, I don't think they do this. They're not going to put the money without him. He is the man for these all the clones. So I feel very confident it's him.
Oh, I would be surprised. I would be very shocked if it wasn't. Yeah. So we'll see. I can't say I do know he did repost the tweet that Star Wars did earlier today announcing the Bad Batch. He reposted it to his Twitter account, which was the first, which he doesn't post regularly. He's sporadic when he posts on Twitter, but he made sure to come online today and retweet that with the saying incoming. So it's going to be, I would be surprised if he's not attached to this project. So the question is, what do y'all think about the Bad Batch? Are y'all as excited for this show as we are? we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the Bad Batch. You can hit us up on any of our social media accounts. Facebook, Star Wars. You can find us at Star Wars Reactions. Twitter, SW Reactions Pod. Instagram, SW Reactions. Or email us, show@starwarsreactions.com. David, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, my friend, how would somebody go about doing that?
Well, there's two spots. Twitter's the most commonly used that I use, and so on and so forth. It's at David_Modders. And I have to admit, I'm blanking. I've never gotten an email through my Star Wars Reactions one. Is it David Modders at StarWarsReactions.com?
David at StarWarsReactions.com.
David, okay. And then yours, Aaron at StarWarsReactions.com?
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. Nice and simple. And of course, for me, hit me up on Twitter at TA Harris 121079 if you want to talk Star Wars or anything there. We'd love to hear from y'all. So, yeah, great things coming from Star Wars. There's a lot coming. I know life's been rough for everybody lately, but we're pulling through. We're going to make it through, and we're going to have new Star Wars to enjoy it with, whether it's in books or animation or TV series that are coming. So hold on there, folks. We're going to make it through. So
that's right, buddy.
David, my friend, this has been fun as always.
Oh man, I was looking forward to recording. Just had a lot of stuff on my plate, and it's always, oh man, talking Star Wars with you, man, just really is such a joy. And I've said it before, I'm so thankful I get to do it. I'm thankful you're my co-host, and I just love talking Star Wars with you, even when we're not recording the show. I love it. So
absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And for the record, our next show, like I said, we are doing bi-weekly now. So our next show will be 2 weeks. And the topic for that show, we will be discussing the first 4 episodes of the show I referenced earlier, Disney Galleries, The Mandalorian. So we're going to basically discuss those first 4 episodes of that series, and go from there. So if you have any thoughts or opinions on anything that was said in that show, you know where to send them to. Direct message us, email us, let us know your thoughts, and we will include them in the show. We thank each and every one of you for listening in. Thank you so much for being a part of the Star Wars Reactions family. We love y'all. We pray for y'all daily, and thank you so much. This is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.